Okay, Sangeeta's house, Channabudura. So started from that level. Did level 1, again it's like a calling. No aspirations, no nothing. I didn't have any expectations. Just did it. Nothing major happened. Okay, she told me 3 weeks of cleansing, and normal cleansing would have taken place, but nothing that came so strong in my mind. At that point, Rajiv, he was looking for a job here. He had just quit something and he was looking for a break. And he got a job. 2 days later, they said, no, we cannot give it to you. Okay, that was fine. And then there was a thing, okay, we need the job because Sahil had to go to school. I went to her house 1 week later. I didn't know what Reiki could do that time also. I went to her house 1 week later and she says, how's that going? And I started crying. She said, give me the papers. I sent her the paper Saturday night. Monday morning, the answer started coming of what the reason was for not getting the job. So that was another confirmation of what Reiki could do. There were a lot of small things that happened, but nothing that I would connect so deeply into what was happening. Did level 2 again, curiosity. Let's do it. Learn some symbols, distant healing, let's do it. Did that. Then I reached level 3. And that was a trigger. 3-week period, the whole thing just transformed me. I started having cleansing at the physical, mental, emotional levels. So the physical level cleansing, basically, of course, diarrhea and all is there, but I'm sitting in this position and I was vomiting. The body didn't need to bend fully in front. I was just, and what is happening is, when you have that cleansing, the body feels very calm and peaceful. It's more getting into love. You know you don't need to go to the doctor. You know you're not dehydrated because it's a different experience. So that was a physical symptom that started. In the mental level, what happened, most of us, or I would say all of us, the thoughts, continuous monologue, continuous dialogue of what should have happened, what shouldn't have happened, past regrets, past frustrations, past guilt, shame, blame. The dialogue keeps on, and one thing triggers and we go on. There are a lot of waste thoughts which we have no control today. So all those thoughts just sort of got cleansed. Fears of the future, uncertainty, everything sort of slowly started getting diluted. So since 12 years, I would say I have just one thought: I'm calm, I'm peace, I'm joy, I'm love, just on those qualities. 4% of our mind is just required to do the day-to-day activities. Just 4%. Whether you're working or you're not working, high professional, whatever, only 4%. It's a 96% which is full of our fears, of our insecurities, of our self-esteem issues. So that whole thing was just sort of cleansed out at that period. Emotional. I come from a very secure, loving family and got married into a very loving family. No issues of wives and house, but I had some resentment against my parents, which was they didn't allow me to dance. I wanted to dance. So that was holding on, and even till I said 12 years back, I saw somebody dancing, I had the urge to get up and do it, but then now my bones won't allow that. And then again after my marriage, I had somebody in the family who did not accept me. I was like not acknowledged, no eye-to-eye contact, not acknowledged at all. So these two things. First question, why me? Why did I experience that? I was at the gym in Hilton Hilton. Glimpses, half an hour on the treadmill of why I experienced those, what happened, and how those experiences had helped me to become the way I am today. So by the end of the half an hour, I had like tears in my eyes. I had written a letter of forgiveness, and not forgiveness, I thanked them for those experiences because they had made me the way I was. Simple example, if you are not acknowledged, eye-to-eye contact, you're not existing, right? So when we moved to New Zealand, it became just a pattern of my life to just smile at me. Anywhere I went, I was at the Singapore International School, I taught there. I was at British International School for 4 years, I taught there. Any staff member, anybody, he got a smile from me because I realized I had to acknowledge their presence, I had to acknowledge they exist. So these kind of things just kept happening and I was like cleansing at all levels. Along with this came so much faith, so much gratitude, so much, it was like pulling me. I felt like I was pulled, it's like something is pulling you up. Like a storm is pushing you and you're just moving up and up. So it was a period of trance. Literally I was in a trance for some time. People who know Itishiri, she called. All I could say is, how are you? I had no words to say. I didn't know what to do. It was just, I was moving, I had visions at that stage. Visions with interpretations. At that point we were concerned about our daughter. At that time she was 20. We were really concerned academically and emotionally how she was doing. And glimpses of, in the vision I saw her that at the age of 32, she would be high up in music. She would be excelling in that field. And I was waiting all around. 32, she turned 32 last year. What would happen? And she's now a DJ. She has a manager. So 12 years back she had no, because we didn't allow her. At that time I was very typical Indian mentality, ego. Didn't allow her to get into music. In the sense she wanted to do drums. And for us, what drums for a girl. So we did not encourage her and she did not get any training. This is all self-trained. So in the 11 years, she has self-trained to reach up to this level. So that was happening, all that. And what happened, this whole experience of gratitude, faith, brought a lot of joy, it was like a bliss. You're like floating. It sort of just lifted my consciousness. And what happens is when we live day to day, it's like understand a channel or a pipe from the top of the head to the base of the spine, which is full of fear. We deal with day to day with ourselves and with others. We are trying to protect that, defending ourselves, trying to just feel safe because we don't want to expose our inner self and we feel insecure. There are fears, there are self-esteem issues, a lot of insecurities which actually create a void here. So in my case, I felt that it was all love, it was all joy, bliss, it was just a flow. So the whole experience just sort of moved me, and then I was working, and what happens is, we feel that, okay, spirituality is for old people, and we try and separate our day-to-day living. In my case, I was teaching, as I said, in the British school, then I was in Singapore. The 96% was always calm, peace. I was working, I was teaching, and the moment the students would go, I would come back to my quiet, I would come back to my peace. We had teacher meetings, the normal routines of a full-time teacher. I've gone through all. So I've seen the difference, and slowly I felt that I was just getting purer and feeling more and more joyful. The connection comes to how much joy you feel from within. That's where the criteria is of whether you're growing spiritually or not. Because the heart opens as we expand, it expands as we are more in love and joy. And anytime we are in resentment, it starts closing. The more fearful we are, the more closed it is. So this whole period has been going on for 12 years now. And let me just, and when I was growing up, I always thought that these kind of experiences happen to we understand Swamis in India, the saints in India, or I thought people who, and we really had to live in the mountains, or we had to live in the cave, and you cannot conduct your day-to-day activities in this stage. Or I would think people like Eckhart Tolle or contemporary writers have these kind of experiences. But as I started experiencing the shift in myself, I realized that ordinary people do experience this shift, and we can continue with our day-to-day activities. Then another belief system I had was, or not I, generally we have is that you have to be dressed in orange robes. In India, typically a saint is in orange. And there's a very interesting story that happened. After the book came out, I met one girl at a party and, few people bought the book and she didn't buy it. It's okay. 1 week later, between that 1 week, actually my YouTube link came out. So she saw it, she says, no Jyoti, I want to come and meet you. She came and met me. She says, you know why I didn't buy your book at that time? I said, why? She says, because you were not dressed in orange. And I could not connect a person who's talking about spirituality and is dressed in normal clothes. So then she came, she bought my book. And then 10, 12 days later, she came and bought two books more because she wanted to give to her mother and sister. She says, I can relate so much to what you're saying because it's from an ordinary person's perspective. So the whole thing, this started flowing. And I come from a family of rituals. My mother is very religious. My sister-in-law is very religious. Lot of fasting, lot of don't do this, lot of superstitions, lot of omens. I somehow never connected to them. And I would say I still don't. For me, spirituality is your inner connection, how you feel from within. These are all fear-based. You do this, then this will happen. Like I met somebody in India this time. She says, if somebody said, if you don't do this, then this will happen. I said, nothing is going to happen, only your thoughts are going to create that reality. Just stay in love. So we have a lot of fears and we are trying to look outside for support. And we do those things, everything is good. Everybody is doing what he's doing and everybody is right. Whatever you do, do it with faith, do it with love. That's the only difference. Finally, the journey is our own individual journey. We can take support, most people we need support from others. But each flower has to bloom itself. And when the flower starts to bloom, it changes you completely. I have met a lot of nice, compassionate, good people in my life. I've somehow attracted them. But as I grew spiritually, I understood that you are not being kind, you are not being loving, you are not being compassionate. You become like a source. You become love. You become compassion. So then, in that stage, then you love yourself, you accept yourself completely, but you radiate that love outside. So that is a big, big difference which came in my awareness. Because normally we think, oh, I haven't done anything wrong. Why is this happening to me? We don't realize that it's not because of what we did, but it's because of what we thought. Thoughts are energy, and thoughts are the one that we need to keep observing. As we become aware of our thoughts, things start to move. We attract the right vibration. So these are all kind of things that came into my, it was like the whole thing became very clear to me. So ordinary people can experience this kind of bliss, I would say. And 5 years back, we moved to the US. And at that time I told my husband, I said, I just cannot work full time. I don't want to run after time. I want to be very still, I want to be very quiet, I want to observe nature, I want to just feel the time pass. Because otherwise time is just going, we don't even realize. I wanted to just be with myself. And that is the time I started flowing with these. Now I call them divine inspirations. I didn't know what was happening at that time. It was like a guided dictation. If Rajiv complained about something, I was just flowing with that, how gratitude and complaints cannot go together. I was at Heathrow Airport once, the flight got delayed, and people, boring and all those terms come up, and I was like flowing. Because it was quiet for me, I was still within, and I started flowing. That is the time the essay on boredom versus inspiradum came. Because for me it became an inspiring moment. Then I told Rajiv, I said, I feel like writing, something is happening and I feel I need to put it on paper. I'm not a writer, I'm not a journalist, I'm nothing. No experience, was a French teacher, he has taught ESL for some time. So then he says, oh, these days blog is such a common thing, why don't you just start writing? So I started a blog, and then I started putting my thoughts, and some people read, said, no, you have to put it in a book, because this is coming from an ordinary person's perspective and it's got so many of your personal examples. So people can relate to this kind of writing more than, because the intellectual stuff sometimes becomes a little difficult. So you start putting in them. So that was the start of my journey. But during this period, I understood a lot of things that I did not know before. At a deeper level, we say, I understood a lot about human nature first of all. Some psychology, but a lot of at the spiritual level how it is. So I understood that most of us live from the place of fear. Because of that fear, we feel that void here. Insecurities and self-esteem issues come up. Now to fill in that self-esteem or to feel complete, we go outside. It could be looking for that in attachments, in our outside possessions. We buy, we get attached to things. When we don't get them, either we feel jealous or we get disappointed. We have expectations from people. If we don't get what we desire, we are angry, we are resent, there's blame. Or we look at success we try and fill ourselves up with our job, our status, material, house, car, whatever we like to call it. And then we have a mask. The inside, what we are feeling is different from what we are saying. We are trying to please because we want to feel accepted. The inside, I might be feeling very angry at someone, I might not like somebody's dress, and then say, oh, you're looking very nice. The inside is what energy is going inside me. So, the mask is there. Then when we get what we want, we have arrogance, we have pride. When we lose those things, depression. Another side of that came up was self-love. We don't love ourselves enough. How many of us can actually look into the mirror and say, I love and accept myself the way I am? Because we don't love ourselves enough, we cannot accept love from others. When others give us love, we can't believe that it's coming to us because we don't feel we are worthy. We don't deserve, we feel we deserve the best. So conditional giving. I give you this with the expectation that I get something back. And what happens is when this whole cycle is complete, our conversations, our thoughts, everything is rotating around that. We judge people because at that point we feel better. We criticize people because that gives us temporary power. When we lose any of these, addiction, depression, actually we feel detached from the divine. On the other side, I understood that when we are at the being level, not from the human side, but at the being level, we are just feeling complete. We are joy, we are love, we are feeling in total happiness. When we are in that state, then the gratitude comes, faith comes. We do have experiences, sometimes negative at the material level, but then we know that what lessons we have to learn from this experience. That is where compassion comes in, because then we understand that this person, the way he's behaving is coming from a place of fear. And if we start sympathizing in a way, oh, poor you, we come to the same vibration, we cannot help anyone. So we help them from the place of compassion, from the place of love. That is what starts to flow. On the other side, we start loving and accepting ourselves the way we are. When we love and accept, love starts to flow in abundance, it starts radiating. Then we don't have that conditional thing. It's just flowing, it's coming, it's just going, and it's going wherever it's required. We don't have to do anything, it just flows. Another side of that is that when we are feeling detached from the divine, we are attached to the things outside. Again, be it house, family, cars, whatever we like to call it. When we are detached from the material things, that's when we are attached to the divine, when we feel connected, then detachment occurs automatically. We don't have to make an effort. It just happens. It's just a normal transition of spiritual growth. That detachment, you cannot force yourself. You cannot do it with the mind. Senses cannot understand that term. It's an experience which brings in on its own. So these are things that just came up, understood, got very clear clarity, a lot of clarity. Another thing I understood was the power of role of ego, how it slowly squeezes in at every level of our growth. As we are able to release the energy of ego, we feel lighter and clearer and purer. To give you a simple example, we are going for this wedding next week. We're going tomorrow, in fact. And I'm calling my daughter. Okay, for this function you wear this, with this jewelry, this function, this. And then later I told my husband, I said, isn't there ego? We are going, my friends will be there, I want my daughter to look nice. So that's my daughter, so there's ego. So it's just a clarity on these small things started to come. Ego changes its forms at all levels and very neatly comes in. So it's very consciously we have to be aware of whether we are responding from place of ego or compassion. That clear distinction is what leads us to one direction or the other. I understood how emotional blockages formed. Okay, I'm angry, I'm this, I'm that. These are at a very lower level, but at a deeper level they form energy blocks inside our body. And those energy blocks have to be released. Because if they stay within, then they're going to manifest in the physical disease somehow or the other. So I got a lot of understanding on that side. Then I understood how the beliefs we hold on since our childhood block us. This should not be done and this should be done, society wants this. So our expression is blocked. And a lot of us say, oh, I'm not good enough, or stress is normal, life is difficult. These are our belief systems which we hold on to, and then they become our reality. And then we say, see, I thought right. Actually, we did not think right. We attracted that because of our thoughts. So the belief system, slowly, it's like onions, we are slowly releasing the layers that we are holding on. And then as the layers are removed, the pure us is within, we connect to that. I understood a lot about relationships. My son is sitting here, so this is the first time he's going to listen to this story. He was being brought up in a very typical egoistic pattern. I'm the parent, I know more. I'm older, I know more. As I started growing, and this child was actually, now you listen to this. This child was so egoistic, and Sangeeta knows that.
Don't quote me.
He would fight till 1 o'clock at night in Nasimbrook house. Fight so much that next day my husband has to go to work, Sahil has to do his homework. Don't bother. Just I have to win the argument. He may be wrong, he might be right, doesn't matter. He has to win the argument. So slowly, as he's sitting on the left side of the bed and he's arguing, and I'm sending him love from my heart chakra, sending him love and light. He comes to me, his voice had mellowed down from the shouting and screaming that he was talking, mellowed down. Another time, because I was used to raising my voice, that was the way I had learned. Unconscious parents, unconscious children. That was what I was doing. I tried to raise my voice just stopped. So after that, since 12 years, 11 years, I would say, I don't know what anger is. It just doesn't come up. It's all peace, calm within. So relationships started to improve day to day. My daughter, again, as I was at 20, she's a changed person now. Sahil is a changed person now. Rajiv, he still has some fears. Middle of the night he'll say, oh, I haven't heard from Sahil for 10 days. I said, send him love, don't send him fear. He's fine. So those kind of things started to change. I understood at a deeper level on how gratitude changes us from good. How gratitude gives us more reasons to be grateful. And then we attract the things that we need for our own experiences. Gratitude doesn't mean that you be grateful for what you wanted and you got. It is also when you don't get what you want at the physical level, because at a deeper level, we don't know what the learning is from that experience. A lot of times we learn as we grow along what we should not do, what we are not going to do. Then the pure us just starts to open up. I understood a lot about prayer. The power of prayer is very, very deep. I live in prayers now. The 96%, as I said, is totally in that stage of calm, peace, joy. Only the 4% that I need for whatever activity, shopping, even conducting this kind of thing. I conduct workshops. Whatever I do, I just keep my focus. And with that, it's pretty simple actually, because there's love going in whatever you're doing. So things have to just flow. So I hesitate to call it wisdom, but that's what I understood it is. The wisdom that you will see in the book is not new. It is the truth, and everybody connects to the truth in his own way. So each one's journey is different. Like if my husband has to release anger and I have to release jealousy, our journeys are going to be different. You would have read so many books on spirituality. Each one is perfect for them. That's where their journey is going. This book is perfect for me. And what happens is you're going to see some things that you could relate. And that's how you know where you're going. And then you have your own experiences which validate your own journey. So that's how each one grows at its own pace. There's no competition in this, because one is on his own. Yes, we need support, but finally, as we connect here and we know how much heart, love there is, because love is not just here, it's just from every cell, every organ, every nerve radiates with that bliss. So that is where any book on spirituality would take you. My book, I'm saying my book actually. I connect to the techniques of releasing. I just didn't have want to have the, do this. But how? Because it's very easy to say release anger, release ego, release this. But techniques are what releases those things, and that's what I connected with Reiki, because I understood the concept of Reiki as energy, that it's all energy and we are all at different vibrations. So the more we release the lower vibrations of fear, the more we rise up. So energy can be released, energy of anger can be released, energy of fear can be released. It's a slow process, but if we have spent 40 years accumulating that baggage, plus the baggage of previous lifetimes, then it's going to be, I always say, be kind to yourself. Don't expect miracles. Miracles do happen. I was not even a seeker. I was leading, as I said, very comfortable life. I had no questions. People asked me, did you have any suffering? No. I just got attracted to the right vibration and I started cleansing myself on my own. So spirituality is just a shift in perspective, shift in thoughts, looking at things in a different, compassionate way, so that we understand why people behave the way they. If somebody is being so-called rude to you, send them love. That's what they need, because they are coming from a place of fear. So my book is not intellectual in the sense it's not that you would say, oh, how do I understand? It's simple. It's written in very simple language, because my own language, as you can see, is very simple. Even a 14-year-old person can read and understand at his level. And remember, if one reads a book after 6 months, he is going to understand at a different level. Not that the book has changed, but you have grown.